Hello and welcome to my Oily Witch channel. Today I am joined by fellow Healing Collective member Angeliki Panteli. And Angeliki Panteli, or Angel Pants as I like to call her, is now going to tell you all about what she does. But I'm going to ask her questions about what she does so that it kind of, because she does so much that it's kind of like we're going to break it down so that you, the audience, can understand the magic and the healing available to you in the services she offers and get an idea about whether this is someone you want to work with. So
Thank you.
take it away, Angeliki
I'm
Panteli.
very grateful for this opportunity. Angel Hand Healing is my private business. I've known Claire for a couple of years, but we've really connected deeply, and I know we've worked on many lifetimes together to do this healing work. My journey has been quite a long one. I've been around for a while doing this work, always interested in complementary holistic health. I started my career working with adults with learning disabilities, and through that, I was able and fortunate enough to be gifted a course in massage. And it was literally the first time I used these hands, it was like a eureka moment. So that was back in 1990, and I just had chills. It was like everything else just kind of fell away.
Wow.
So I've been doing it for, well, qualified 30 years now, actually.
Can you show the audience your beautiful hands? Well, they're really magic. Put them over there. They're really they're the right shape for massage.
So these hands do a lot of work. They've actually helped thousands, I'd say, over the years of people through hands-on physical massage, healing, reiki, reflexology, and distant healing, obviously.
Well, not obviously. Obviously, and obviously, I do a little bit of distant healing. Would you just like to explain to people how distant healing works? Because people find it really difficult to get their heads around the fact that they don't need to be present for healing to take place. Because I'll be thinking, well, surely I need to see you, feel you. You need to feel me. What is it?
Okay, so everything is energy.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And all of our systems create energy. So when we have an intention or a thought, it can travel through space-time because we're all connected. I mean, this is just a dense body, which is denser energy, and yours is the same, but we are connected. It's just frequency, energy, and there's space between that. So that's why we can actually send with our intention. I've done quite a bit of work with that as well through my work with hospice, and just noted with outcome measures how people can feel different. And sometimes when you're actually sending it and people don't know where you are on that part of the body, they feel it.
No,
and that's a real kind of like recognition and kind of feedback system.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do it distant healing, and it doesn't mean that it's not as effective, because I've worked quite a bit with that and know the feedback.
I've had your distant healing or remote healing. You've sent me stuff, and you definitely feel it. There's just a change. I mean, do you remember when you did some stuff on my dog? And the dog,
Oh yeah,
I didn't know when she did it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the dog, his behavior,
well.
yeah, just changed, just like that.
Yeah, that was more emotion code. But I've worked with the house as well, and things happened then, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was more kind of working with the ley lines and working with spiritual response therapy. So yeah, I've qualified in Reiki for years, but I have been doing this for a long time. So then my journey took me with massage aromatherapy, and I did a lot of voluntary work in London, and a lot of what I call my bread and butter. So working in health clubs and local hospital, offering services to wellbeing days for staff, nurses. And then that took me on my journey more to hospice work, where I've been at local hospice for nearly 20 years. And it's the work that I love, 100%. But also it's part-time. So I've got the best of both worlds. So I can work with my other modalities as well to my private work. So reaching a wider audience really, rather than sort of specific cohort.
So you've covered off massage, you've covered off a little bit of Reiki, we've done a bit of distant healing. Now let's go on to emotion code, because you talked about that. Was that the next stage in your journey, or is there other things you qualified in before you got to
No,
emotion code?
I did reflexology as well. That was about sort of like, well, Reiki and reflexology and aromatherapy was all about sort of 28 years ago. And in those days, not a lot of people did know about reflexology or Reiki actually. So I've always found that it's almost being like a pioneer without sounding arrogant, and also working within that hospice and medical settings to prove the efficacy. And I always have proved the efficacy of of the modalities that I've worked with. So you're pushing those boundaries, and now actually seeing, 30 years later, most people know about reflexology and Reiki now. It's kind of
it's much
more
more common.
accepted, and we use that as well in hospice work too. So yeah, the reflexology, which for people that maybe don't know, it's just pressure point work on feet, hands, face, based on the idea that you've got points in your body, points in your feet, for example, that correspond to different parts of your body, and you're basically unblocking and balancing those energy zones. It's very gentle. I mean, it can be quite,
The feet can be quite painful,
in
depending
some
on who's
parts,
doing it.
but I always do a bespoke treatment and get the feedback from the person, because I don't believe that if it's necessarily painful, it's any better working with the energy again. We're working with the nerve endings and working with the feet, for example, and the energy zone. So it doesn't have to be, deep tissue to work.
Yeah. And I'd say that was certainly the experience when you did facial reflexology on me. I mean, I just found it absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I think it's a great thing to do. And I've noticed on social media at the moment, there's an awful lot of kind of adverts around for kind of facial yoga, as people are realizing that actually by just kind of doing these exercises, they can avoid things like facelifts and things like that, or the need for Botox and things like that, because everyone goes crazy for Botox. But actually, why would you go crazy for injecting some kind of bacteria into your muscles, which are going to stop them working properly, and expect that that's going to be okay? There's not going to be any lasting effects. It's like a foreign body in your body.
I think also there's no judgment for people that want to have that, but what probably you and we like to go the natural route, and I've always gone the natural route, so we wouldn't necessarily go straight to kind of pharmaceuticals. We look at the natural work that's been around for eons. I mean, Egypt, Greeks, Chinese, all of that. We kind of used all of these things, and we've just revamped them and renamed them. But going back to the facial stuff, we've said it before, where we work with energy with that, even though we're working physically. Again, remember that it's just energy. So when we're working with the denser energy of our physical body, we're also working with the more subtle energy fields, like the etheric, the chakra system, all of that. So yeah.
And that really helps.
And that's why it's holistic.
Yeah, completely. Takes in absolutely
mental, body,
everything. And I find it fascinating. I do a bit of palm reading. The fact that there is like parts, like the whole body is like a map.
Yes.
Of, as you say, you can do it on reflexology on the feet, you can do it on the hands, you can do it on the face, and it correlates to these different organ points. You've got teeth, also every single tooth has a different organ point and a different meaning. So if you've got like a rotten tooth on one side, you can work out exactly what that issue is that you have. Your body is just like showing you, oh, there's a problem with this. You haven't processed that properly. So I'm going to just really give you a physical demonstration of what you need to work on. So that, go on.
I was going to say, and that's why I think we were going to talk about the emotion and body code, but I think that's why the body code works well in that. So I'll talk about a little bit about the emotion code in a sec, which is incorporated in the body code. But with the body code, so if you had, for example, that toothache or the pain in your face or jaw or neck, it goes on a journey with comprehensive charts. You go on a journey to discover what the root cause is. Okay, so it would be possibly to do with your throat chakra. It could be a physical muscular thing, or a misalignment in your skeletal system, or it could be
issues about money. Well, it could.
Well, yeah,
Teeth and money are very connected.
yeah. Well, and if it's around the neck, or you could be holding like a lot of weight from the world. Yeah,
Tension.
so
Yeah. Grinding your teeth because you're stressed about money. I mean, structures, teeth, and everything are like Saturn ruled by on your
okay.
medical astrology. So it's kind of like
I have to admit, I don't know much about teeth, but I'd like to learn more.
maybe that's your next course, and she
course.
does like a course. And
Yeah.
so going back to the body code, how does it actually work then? How do people kind of use that service with you?
Okay, so the emotion and the body code work in connection with each other. So it's based on the idea developed by Bradley Nelson. It's a form of energy work. So with emotions, for example, what are happier emotions like joy, love, all of that, we can process a lot of that more easily. With other, what we deem denser emotions, they may get trapped, and they may get trapped in certain parts of our body because there's an affinity. For example, we've heard of the phrase venting the spleen. We hold possibly envy in our liver, jealousy, that kind of stuff, green with envy. So that color relates to that. We also hold in our lungs grief, joy. So, they're all related to different parts of the body, but it's denser energy. So again, with that, with the emotion code, with the body code, we go on a journey through muscle testing. So, we can do that in a different way. I won't demonstrate now, but there's something called the sway test, which you could do. So you just go quietly, take a breath, center yourself, and get your yes or your no answer. So it may be that when you're standing and you get the yes, you just say, give me an answer for yes, you move forward. With the no, you may move backwards. And if you can get your baseline of whatever your sway test is, then you can kind of move further down with all sorts of aspects in your life if you can't decide. So we do that. I use a pendulum to muscle test because I've worked with pendulum for decades. So that's my go-to. And what you're tapping into is your unconscious, your subconscious, the super conscious. So our conscious mind is a bit of a gatekeeper, like, oh no, I don't want to feel that emotion. I don't like to feel angry or envy or anything like that. So we kind of block it and we push it down, which then gets denser. It's a block in that energy. So we're not flowing as easily and in imbalance. So what we do, we go on that journey. We work with a chart, for example, of 60 emotions, and it's the closest vibration to that energy with the words that we use, because we are limited with words. With the body code, it goes again like a bit deeper. It could be chakras, it could be physical, it could be mental blocks, programs that we use. It could even be entities. I've worked with that where people come in and they've had entity attachments. So we can get rid of those, okay? Because of whatever's gone on, it's held on to that energy. So we go on a journey through muscle testing, through using comprehensive charts. And to clear it, we use, with this particular modality, emotion body code, we use a magnet to go over the governing meridian, which governs all the meridians. So you cancel it out. We cancel it out through the point of its conception, which may be past. It may be, something you've absorbed from somebody else. It may be ancestral. It may be past lives that you've brought through. So it's quite a quantum energy system in a way,
It's surprisingly accurate.
Yeah, it really is. And you've had, when you journey with someone and then you pinpoint perhaps a particular point in time, and they're like, no, there's, and then it kind of dawns on them, oh yeah, that happened then actually. And you don't, like we've said before, you don't have to relive a trauma, for example. It's like it kind of shifts because you've cancelled, you've kind of brought something else in, you've let go energetically. This is all energy. Then you can feel lighter, and you've let that part go. It doesn't mean you're never going to feel anger, but that point, which often a lot of our future stuff
the trigger point, basically.
Yeah. So you cancel that out, you eliminate it, you dissolve it, you transmute it, send it to a field of unconditional love and compassion. And it works because I get that feedback. And there's a lot of research with that as well that you have to do when you're studying these modes. I'd say spiritual response therapy, which is something that I've worked with more recently, is similar in a way because you're working with dowsing and a journey and comprehensive charts. I'd say that's more of a sort of soul connection. So you're working more with the Akashic records. You're looking at your soul programs that you've brought in.
I just had mine done recently, and I can verify that.
And what you're doing is you're just clearing these paths, your path ahead of you. And what I would say with all of this is, if anyone's concerned about, I don't want to go back and delve into that part of my journey, my childhood, whatever, it's actually whatever comes to the conscious mind, you're ready to release. Your subconscious mind knows that you're ready for this. And sometimes just by bringing it into the conscious mind, you've done a lot of the work there already. I just facilitate to help you go on that journey and to clear it with you. With spiritual response therapy, you don't use a magnet. You're working with your team in spirit, your higher self, your committee in spirit, the divine, and it's quantum and it's powerful. And when I started doing this work, it was like, wow, that fits just like a hand in a glove. I know this work. It flows. And that's where I've gone with all of my work. I flow with it. And if it resonates, I take it up. If it doesn't, I leave it behind, sort of thing. So
Yeah,
I have purpose here, my calling. And how blessed am I to be able to do this work? How blessed,
exactly.
and to get money for it, pay the bills. I feel that about the work that I do at the hospice. It's just so humbling and honoring to walk alongside people, all walks of life, to help them with, managing pain, managing anxiety, symptoms, breathlessness, all of that. And just, I'm a great believer in enabling and empowering you. So it's not a passive experience. I will always give feedback. I will always give you little homework or something, or sow seeds, ideas of, what you can do, your own research and work with particular techniques. For example, we talked about the hands. There's so many pressure points in the hands, and often talk to people about, working with pressure points if they're anxious. Nobody needs to know what you're doing, but you're just kind of there holding, trying to ground. So very blessed. Don't know what the next journey is though.
No,
Quite
I know,
excited.
but I can resonate with that feeling of just kind of, I've done this before.
Yeah,
I've done
100%.
this in many lifetimes. I feel like that when I'm mixing up my potions and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I'm like,
yeah.
I was just doing, making up my magic cream earlier. I'm labeling it over there for this weekend. And I was just thinking, it came into my head, it heals, it seals, and it protects. And I thought,
Oh,
I've been doing this for making this cream for lifetimes. This is very familiar. It's
yeah.
like,
And
yeah,
I think you and I have done that together,
yeah,
because obviously I'm an aromatherapist as well. I use my work in different ways. I don't make up potions like you do, creams or
sprays,
sprays
aura
or
sprays.
anything like that.
Yeah.
That's not what I do. But I know I've had downloads where you and I are doing this work on people in quite a lot of lifetimes, and that's lovely.
That's very special. And I think, as you said earlier, that it is kind of like this is old, traditional, well practiced forms of healing that are in a kind of conscious revival state at the moment. And I was just saying to my circle last night, it feels like we're laying we are the foundation, the building blocks of the future.
Mm,
For this, it's like it's had to do an evolve fast because everyone's been outsourcing their healing. There is this concept that it's all about symptom management rather
mm,
than actual healing. It's important when you get unwell to not just treat what you see, it's to understand, how did you get to that
yeah,
point? What wasn't working? And to know it can be something from a previous life. That is entirely possible. So it's kind of like understanding all of that, and then you know what you're working with, and then you can clear it
yeah.
and move forward. And I think it's that fact that we're not just tied to this dimension, we're
No.
tied to, and you've got your wonderful ways of doing this.
And I think with me listening to you say that, I feel like I've been a bit of a bridge, because I have worked in the medical
Yeah,
kind of environments, having to prove efficacy in a very sort of masculine, patriarchal, double blind kind of, well, I don't do double blind studies, but in a very sort of have a measured
A
way, in a
clinical.
clinical way. And I'm not knocking that. There's a place for everything, but I think we're coming more into balance. And I would say that the feminine, more feminine, intuitive ways are coming up with, being recognized. And I see just from the patient cohort, more people are interested in these modalities and looking after themselves in a holistic, natural way. Doesn't mean that and that's why it's the bridge, because complementary is meant to be to complement, but you can have all that other stuff, but again, it's not a quick fix. If this work has come from a deep-seated energy, it's long-standing, it's not going to be not going to just go just like that. That's why we need to look at it more from an energetic. I think the physical is the last manifestation, and when we work energetically, we're starting that in our field, and eventually it will come down. I mean, some people who are sensitive feel it straight away. Whether you're working with Reiki, body code, spiritual response therapy, relaxation, whatever it is. Others may take time, not because they don't believe it or they're cynical, but because it's a denser thing.
They're much more dense.
Yeah,
they've got more layers to get through. It's like,
and we're all made up differently as well. So some of us are more sensitive to energy than others. So yeah, I feel the bridge, like you said, we're moving, shifting. More people are taking this up, and that's why we've developed the Healing Collective, because we've all got different tools and strengths, and we're all coming together as a whole. And so you can kind of, have that opportunity then to kind of say, I'd really like to, I think that's going to work with that particular issue, perhaps. A certain modality. I mean, I use reflexology quite a lot at the hospice, for example, and I think that works for you. If it works for you, it's really powerful. So it's finding what works for you in any given moment. And it's not just about the symptom management, which it does also help with symptoms.
But it's the healing. And I was going to say about your massage, right? Because I'm hypermobile, and that means that my ligaments are really lax. My muscles have to do a lot of work. So my muscles, especially up here, are really, really tight. And they always will be really, really tight because they're doing an important job of holding me upright, whereas I'm really loose around the hips. And so this has to compensate for this. So when I have a massage with Ange, I don't necessarily want deep tissue, myofascial, like when she's just holding the muscles and the space, and that gives them the energy to just gently unfold without going too far, is much more beneficial to me than a deep tissue massage. Deep tissue massages are good, but I can hurt really easily because I'm so sensitive. So I find that kind of, coming to someone with so much expertise, as you call it, a spiritual mashup or a kind of mashup of different things, means that kind of when it comes to body, especially, and also mind of spirit, but you are kind of body woman, because it's kind of, you'll know what somebody needs because you've got such an enormous portfolio of different ways you can kind of treat them. It's like, well, I'll give you a bit of that, and while I'm up here and I'm down here, I'm going to say, oh, what about this? And
and then sometimes it changes. Yesterday somebody had a knee pain, and I was like, I really want to go for the knee, and just kind of give it healing, but she came for a massage, and it's just kind of, so you have all these tools that that come, and yeah, I think the next one I'll be doing is emotional freedom technique through the hospice work. So,
which I think is great as well.
Yeah, so there'll be
I've done a video on that with Leanne, so we kind of worked out all the pulse points, but it's just all fascinating. So do come and see us at our events. Do like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll put Angel Pants' contact details.
There's a reason she calls me Angel Pants. My surname is Panteli, and at school I think we nickname
It's because you're an angel on this planet, and you're wearing your angel pants as you heal the world. It's like your version of kind of Superwoman is Angel Pants. That's how I see it.
My wings, and I'm wearing my angel pants,
and you can wear your wings and your angel pants when you do your talk, just to kind of lighten the mood. A gold pair of pants saying Angel Pants. So yeah, I'll put her contact details beneath this video so that you can get in contact with her direct and have an idea, conversation, see whether she's someone you'd like to work with, or come along and meet her on one of the Healing Collective events.
And thank you for listening, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Claire.
Have a lovely, lovely day. And as usual, I then, I've